Well, congratulations on the win. Back-to-back wins in the UFC. How does it feel? How did you feel about your performance tonight?
I felt good, man. I trained really hard for this fight. Should have had the finish. Gonna have to go back to the drawing board and fix some things, but I'm just trying to get better every fight.
Sure. And was there anything about him that kind of surprised you? You mentioned not getting the finish. Was he a lot more durable than you thought?
I thought he was going to come with a lot more, man. I was watching a little bit of him, and he comes with a lot of. He's a real good striker, so I thought he was going to come with a lot more explosion. But it's like all the time, man. You overestimate your opponents a lot, and it makes you think too much about it. That's why I don't really like watching tape. But when you do, it messes you up when he throws you off and he doesn't do the things you think he's going to do.
Well, I was going to say it was tough to train for him in a way because he had that long break, and then of course he had just the one fight. Was it more difficult preparing for him than some of your other opponents?
Just so because I used to watch him a lot when I was coming up in the game. He used to be one of my favorite fighters just because he's young, but he's been in the game for a while, and I used to always watch his fights because he's exciting. So just that type of thing where, oh dang, I'm across from Jordan Main.
How much did you feel him fading there in the later rounds?
I'm one of those guys that gets stronger toward the end in later rounds, so I knew that anybody I go against is going to fade whenever they're going against me in the later rounds. I'm always going to have more energy than them. But like I could see it in his eyes when his coach was yelling something and he's not really executing what the coach is yelling. So like I saw I had him, so I just knew that I just needed to work to finish a little more.
Do you think that once you had cut him, that's kind of what maybe mentally set in with him? Like maybe.
He's been in a lot of wars, so I don't think the cut really affected him anyway. I think it's just one of those things where I like to stay in the face no matter what, stay in your face a lot, and try to keep the fight going all the time. I don't like to take a lot of breaks during the fight. So a lot of guys just get tired because of that.
Brian mentioned on the broadcast that you were having to train during Ramadan, and that was the second time you were having to do that, actually. Is that something you want to continue doing moving forward, or in the future would you like to avoid that situation?
I'm one of those guys that's going to train all year round no matter what, and I'm one of those guys that's like, I'm really a mixed martial artist, so I'm not one of those guys that takes time off and then only trains when it's camp time. So I'm training during Ramadan no matter what, whether I have a fight or not. So it's only better to have something at the end of the rainbow, so I'd rather do it that way.
So you don't mind in that situation, I guess?
No, I think it helps me mentally because I'm going through practices without food or drink. So I know that when I'm in the fight and I could have food and drink, I'm just going to be on a whole nother level than my opponent. And then this game is like 90% mental, 10% physical. So if I could go through training with guys that are drinking and eating, and I could go as hard as them or harder than them, the fight's going to be nothing for me.
Was it tougher preparing for this fight? One of your close friends, someone that we all know, Brian Levesque, passed away. Was that difficult, getting through training camp and having to deal with that?
Yeah, man, that was big, because he's a really nice guy, man, and he's done a lot for me. And never asked for anything in return, man. He was a great guy. So when I heard that, man, that broke me for a couple of days. So I'm dedicated to Brian, man. He's a great guy, and God rest in peace.
And when would you like to fight again? Is there a card in particular you want to get back on?
Man, I want to go on any card they come up with, man. If they come up with the Hawaii card, I'm looking at Yancey. So Yancey's on a couple of fight streaks, so I think that'd be a good, exciting fight. Or maybe Sergio Moraes, he's on another streak, man. I want to go against guys that are winning, guys that are in the spotlight, guys that I could take their wins from. And Kobe Covington's calling out everybody. I'll call him out too. He's saying everybody's fair to fight him. I'll fight him. I'll fight anybody in here. Yeah,
we've really seen your personality come alive on Twitter these last couple months. Is that just the influence of guys like Biggie Rhodes and some of your teammates?
Yeah, man. I moved down to Milwaukee, so it's a big thing down there. Still go train back at home. My coach Lewis Taylor's been with me since for like 20 years now. So just having those type of guys, just having them open me up more. Because one of those things I thought it was like Twitter was you got to be serious, stuff like that. But they're just telling me just to have fun on there, man. It ain't nothing serious. Just get your fans that way.
Do you find the reception's been a lot better, from fans, just kind of, because you're making some good jokes on there, you got good material.
Yeah, man, I'm trying, man. Maybe I'll get on somebody's podcast soon.
Yeah, for sure. How you celebrating tonight?
Man, I was driving and I saw a restaurant, Nacho Daddy, man. I want to go over there, man. I love nachos. I just want to eat. I was fasting all of Ramadan and still having to eat clean right after I broke my fast, so it's time to get sloppy.
Just curious, Belal, you said you've been watching Jordan for quite some time. Does he, from your vantage point and now after being in the cage with him, does he feel like the same fighter that he once was?
No, I don't think that. Like, I feel like he needs to get back mentally first, because I feel like he's taken a couple of hard losses and he had a couple of fights where he was winning and then he'll end up losing. So I think one of those things that broke him down a little bit. And I think he retired because he was trying to think, is this really for me or not? I think he just needs to find himself and go back to the old Jordan where he's just doing it. I feel like, I don't know, maybe he's not doing it for the right reasons now. Maybe he's just doing it because he thinks this is all I'm good at. Or maybe he just needs to go back to the drawing board and just learn to love the sport again.
Did he feel less aggressive than you expected him to be?
Man, a lot, man. It was like a lot slower pace than I was expecting. I was thinking after watching his last fight with Emil Meek, I was like, I'm going there ready for a war. We're going to beat each other's face the whole time, banging, and that's what I was expecting. And he was kind of lulling a lot of his shots. So then I was like, all right, is he going to explode at some point? Is he not going to explode at some point? So it kind of threw me off a little bit. But I had great coaches in my corner who kept telling me, don't fall asleep, don't go into his game. Still keep the pressure going. So if I didn't have them in my corner, it would have really threw me off.
And just curious, you mentioned Medeiros and Covington. If you had, your wish, who would be next of those guys?
I mean, if it's in Hawaii, I'll fight you Medeiros, man. That'd be hot. UFC
Hawaii?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
No, but if it's not Hawaii?
Oh, if it's not Hawaii, man, I'll fight either one of them two, man. Okay. Whichever one of them is ready to go. Like I said, man, I just want to keep getting my name out there and fighting guys that are winning. I want to get guys out coming off wins so I get into the rankings by the end of this year or next year. So get close to the title shot, man. That's what we're in the game for.
Do you just really want to go to Hawaii?
Yeah, I want to go to Hawaii, man.